Hi, and welcome to History Brief. Today I'll be telling you, or talking about rather, Marcus Aurelius and how he affected Rome. If I told you one of the most powerful men in history slept, freezing in military camps, wrote notes to himself about self-discipline, you probably wouldn't think I was talking about a Roman emperor. You'd more be thinking about, someone trying to conquer enemies and things like that. But, Marcus had many layers to him. Marcus Aurelius, born in 121 AD, he didn't chase power. It was handed to him. And I think it's one of them things when you look at a lot of leaders that wanted power. They're usually quite bad leaders. It's usually the ones that don't want it that become great leaders. And he became the Emperor of Rome, ruling nearly 60 million people at the height of the Roman Empire. I mean, what a pressure that would be in itself. But his reign wasn't peaceful. Wars erupted across the borders. In the north, fierce Germanic tribes pushed through Rome during what became known as the Marco-Manic Wars. That was against the German barbarians. In the east, the Rome faced conflict with Parthia. And in the middle of all that, a devastating plague was sweeping through the empire. Rome was under pressure from every direction. But Marcus Aurelius did not rule from, some type of golden throne. He got his hands dirty. He led his legions personally, living amongst his soldiers, enduring brutal winters along the Danube frontier. He was not just an emperor in title, he was a commander, a master strategist, and a defender of Rome during one of its most dangerous periods. But here's what makes him different. In the middle of war, surrounded by chaos and people that just wanted to kill him, Marcus wrote something extraordinary, and his words will echo through time, and it was all through his private journal. That's a journal that was never meant to be seen, never meant to be published, not for fame, not for, trying to, not to try and have some type of legacy to show off. None of that. It was for himself. He was trying to become a better human. And when you read the words, you can feel there's like an anxiety in there. He's trying to learn from his mistakes. It's almost like notes. He's like, like you would on an iPhone today. He's making notes of how he become a better person, a better ruler, a better leader, a better man, a better father. And he mentions about mistakes and things he's done wrong, and he's trying to learn from them. The journal would later become known as the Meditations, one of the most influential philosophical works that's ever been written. And inside it, he reminds himself that of such things like you can't control events, you can only control your response to that event. Things like, anger is weakness, ego being a distraction, death is natural, the only obstacle in your path is the path. He practiced what's known now as Stoicism, a philosophy built on discipline, resilience, and personal responsibility. To Marcus, true power wasn't about dominating others. It was about mastering oneself. He's often remembered as one of Rome's last good emperors. And after his death, the empire slowly declined into instability, more because of his son Commodus, but that's maybe for another time. But, his words survived, and nearly 2,000 years later, leaders, entrepreneurs, athletes, and soldiers, they still study meditations, not because, he conquered enemies, but because he conquered his impulses. And isn't that the most difficult thing today, with ourselves? Marcus Aurelius ruled the known world, but his greatest victory was ruling his own mind. Thanks, and if you enjoyed this, I would say please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll try and do as many of these videos as I can, even though they're short, try and provide a little bit of insight. Hope you have a good day. Thank you very much, and goodbye.